Now that I've gotten the garden up and growing, I've been thinking about getting away. Don't get me wrong, I love the garden and the ease of just walking out into the backyard and getting veggies to make a meal. But I've planned a 2-day camping trip and quickly discovered leaving the garden, in addition to getting ready, was not as easy as I thought. When you have a garden, you don't just jump into your van and take off. Throw in taking a dog to a state park, and the complications begin to pile up. So let's begin. I always smile when other gardeners talk about full sun, because there is full sun and then there is Florida full sun. And this growing season has heated up really quickly. I water the vegetables a little almost every day because the sun is so intense, the plants simply wouldn't make it. So a couple of days before leaving, with no rain in the forecast, I had to make sure that every bed was completely soaked, but not overwatered, to keep things alive while I was away. One thing I noticed as I made my rounds was how quickly the 2-cup tomatoes had caught up to the tomatoes started outside. This is how the 2-cup tomatoes looked as I hardened them off. And then, once they were planted in their own bed, in no time their vines have become really thick as they caught up to the outside tomato plants. I have also learned to embrace tomato suckers. I snap them off near the vine and place them in water, and in no time you have extra tomato plants. Then, as much as I enjoy the bush and pole beans, with the early heat, they have been growing like weeds. And if you don't pick them, the plant thinks it's done its job and stops growing, or the peas get too big and don't taste as good. This is a 1-day harvest. And on to the next area. I talked earlier about enjoying the lantana flowers. But the flowers turn into berries that are seeds. And once the birds get to them and poop out the seeds, you end up with lantana everywhere. So I needed to cut them back before I left because several flowers had already turned into berries. I don't have to worry about the flowers coming back because all it takes is a good rain and the flowers return. With much of the garden work done, I then decided to focus on a bicycle cart for Sunny Girl. Using a cart, I could take her around the state park with me and avoid leaving her in the van or unattended at the campsite. I didn't film the entire construction of the cart because I needed to work quickly. I first had to decide how long the cart would be, which involved chasing Sunny Girl around. And of course, I used fence pickets that would be cut to the length of a wiener dog. Next, I had to run 2 boards through a jointer to smooth the ends to make the bottom of the cart. Each board is only 6 inches wide, and joining them would make the cart a little less than 12 inches wide. Then came adding small strips to the sides to make it high enough to keep her from jumping out. That done, it was a simple matter to join all the parts together to make the cart that would fit on the rack of my bike. I used U-bolts to anchor the cart to the rack, and thought about putting a visibility light on Sunny Girl, but decided to put it on the back of the cart as a flashing signal. And later added a towel for comfort. But then came the big test of riding around to get Sunny Girl used to the cart. At first, she wondered what it was all about, but quickly realized she could ride along and bark at people as we went. We rode around the neighborhood and even stopped at a neighbor's house so she could take this picture. In no time, Sunny Girl was a pro at sitting in the cart and watching the world go by. So I guess we were finally ready to go. See you next time.